graduated as the F-16 pilots. You guys will be like Maverick, don't worry. My name's Tyler. Okay, you can call me by that throughout the course. I won't mind. So, just a bit of basics. Simply about the course and what we're going to cover. Okay, so we're going to begin today with a cockpit. Kind of like a cockpit familiarization. Okay, so just going through the basics, of all the buttons and switches that are there, and then going through the startup. Basic level of systems, kind of coverage. So going through that, giving that a bit of an overview, and then looking at the pattern. So essentially getting you guys up in the air, and then safely bringing you guys back down again. So pretty simple stuff, and that's what we're going to cover today. And then to go over the future sessions, so session 2. Okay, we're going to go over navigating, going to cover a bit of the formation flying, use the TACAN data link, the IFF, and the HMX. So again, just, kind of delve in just a bit deeper, just into the basic systems of the aircraft and what it can give us. Then we're going to cover the air-to-air refueling. It's going to be quite a fun one because in this aircraft, it is rather difficult. So as it says on the tin, we're going to be taking fuel from a KC-135 tanker. Okay, so we're going to be working on the operational procedures that we're going to use, while we are in the vicinity of a tanker, using the positions and things like that. Again, we're going to be covering the air-to-air TACAN and the formation flying. And then once we've done that, then we're going to get into the real juicy stuff. So air-to-ground bombing, put in bombs on targets, warheads on foreheads. We're going to be covering the use of CCRP pre-bombing, and GPS guided bombing, as well as the use of laser. Types of designation, so things like buddy lasing as well. Have a bit of fun with that. And then we're going to be covering the air-to-ground missiles, so the use of harms, and Mavericks, getting you guys super good at just nuking targets from super far away. So that's what we're here to do. Then we're going to go, kind of away from that, and we're going to chuck ourselves into some BFM. So we're going to be dogfighting each other. Okay, so I'm literally going to take the best pilot that I see from you guys and stack you against 2 others and just see who comes out on top, putting some of the competitive nature into it to make you guys a bit better. Okay, so we're going to be doing things like ACM, BFM tactics, Fox 2, as well as some standard gun usage. And then once we've done that, then we're going to cover the beyond visual range stuff. So we're going to be doing 1v1s, 2v2s. We're going to be going over the chainsaw, we're going to be going over timelines, BVR tactics, really kind of getting into the nitty-gritty stuff about fighting, in BVR tactics. And then, hopefully, all of you guys would have, passed out with flying colours, and not had a single hitch. And then move on to session 8, graduation, and then you guys have passed all of the tests, bells and whistles. Right, so we're just going to do... Right. So, we're going to do super quick from left to right. Basically just covering everything within the jet, and then we'll do a cold start, and we'll just cover that. So starting right, with the back left panel, we got the bit tests back there. So you've got, some of the power bit tests, as well as the FLCS bit tests. And then closer to you, you've got the trim. So you've got the roll trim, rudder trim, and pitch trim, all in that little compartment there. Okay, then moving, closer to the forward end of the aircraft, you've got, some of the engine feeds, so that's for fuel and stuff like that, and you've also got the refueling door opening, which is next to the canopy jettison handle. And then closer to you, you've got your IFF, and then also your score code panel. Okay, so that's your score code, for putting 7,500. And then you'll have some escorts come to your side in about 30 minutes. And then closer to you, again, this next panel here, that is your lighting panel, okay? That's going to deal with the external lighting, within the F-16. So we will again get that set up and ready to go. Okay, then moving forward throughout the aircraft, you've got the electric panel. Which is currently switched to full forward, which is the main power. Okay, so we're going to be taking, some power, just out of the aircraft's battery. And then moving closer to us, you've got the ECM panel, which is going to be our electronic countermeasures. Okay, so using you know, some type of jamming pod that will be fitted on the underside of our plane to jam, you know, any type of like enemy radar. Moving forward from that, you've got the backup radio. So again, using, you know, some old stuff. So actually going to be, you know, kind of like manually, you know, kind of input in the frequencies. So there, and then you can move it forward. So again, we might be using that at some point. But that is, you know, a way on how to essentially use, you know, the backup and like comms unit within the aircraft. Then you've got the jet fuel, that's the JFS, you know, for the F-16, that's the jet fuel starter switch, starter 2 and starter 1, so we will learn the difference between them at a certain points. Moving up to the left light front panel here, you've got the countermeasures, so that's the flares and the chaff, and then its linkage between itself and the RWR, which is the radar warning receiver panel. And then you've also got the HMX, that's just the symbology, so turning off its brightness. On the left there, you've got the RWR panel, so that's going to be to turn it on, and then also to use some of its functions. Again, we will cover that, you know, at a later date. Moving up from here, you've got some of the like aircraft, kind of like well, I don't really know what you would call that. You would, does it say it? I mean, you know, that's just to essentially manage what the aircraft is doing. Okay, so you know, you got things like landing gear, you got the lights, you got the parking brake, and then also the stores config. Okay, so essentially managing how the aircraft is situated. Moving up here to the left, you've got the arm switches. So you've got the radar arm, which can either be set to full, quiet, or silent. The laser arm, or the ECM button, which isn't currently modeled. ECM button, that's ECM, you know, kind of light, which shows you if it's turned on. Master arm switch, as well as the autopilot. So we will cover that. Then you've got the interface for the RWR. Okay, so essentially managing the priorities or managing, you know, what shows up first through the RWR, which is a puny little screen there. Then you've got the left MFD, and then here you've got the center panel. Okay, this kind of acts like your six-pack. Okay, so you've got things like your HSI, you got your speed, you got your altimeter, you got your like vertical speed, and then you got your angle of attack as well as your standby ADI. And then you got your fuel, you know, like kind of like interface, which will manage what's going on the fuel gauge there. You got your ICP, or the integrated control panel. This is how you will essentially interface with every other thing within the jet. Okay, so this is things like changing your TACAN. This is things like changing your like laser code. Okay, like anything that you can do to this jet, you will most likely be doing it through the ICP and through the interface, you know, well, and also through the UI of the DED, which again we will cover at a later date. Got your right MFD, and then you got a bunch of dials. You won't really be looking at these three, but the middle bottom one, which is the RPM, that is what you use to start up your jet. Moving to the right side, you've got your radar. So that's your radar altitude switch. So that's, you know, being able to turn it on, as well as your FCR switch. That's currently on, and it should be off unless it's on like that. And then you've got your hardpoint power switches. This jet is super old, so we actually need to turn on the power to the hard points, and we do that through the two switches, which is next to the switch, next to the stick. Then all of these switches here, so you've got a row of 4 and then another row of 4. Okay, this is how you're going to use essentially these switches to change what's showing up with your HUD. So if I turn up the HUD to full brightness, like that, and then I switch, for example, these two switches, everything goes from my HUD. So let's say, for example, that you want to do some like air-to-ground gunnery, and you want to be able to have a maximum layer of like visibility through your HUD, then you will essentially mess around with these switches to bring up new points of information or get rid of other points of information. So there we go. We're now bringing up, you know, some sort of like implementation of our DED through our HUD. So that is your HUD panel. You've got your inboard like lighting here. So that'll be changing the lighting of the backlighting, sorry, for the consoles, for your chart lights, all that good stuff. You've got your OBOGs here, so that's your oxygen. And then back here, you've got the basic systems for the aircraft. So things like the INS, bringing power to your MFDs, bringing power to your radios, all of that good stuff. That's just a basic, kind of go around of the cockpit. It's super simple, and you will get used to it really, really quickly. So is everyone set up within the server?
I'm having some timeout issues, but that should be solved momentarily.
Okay, right. We will wait for you to get situated.
It takes me 2 minutes to go from cold start to hot start, so go ahead without me.
Okay, sounds good. Alright. Okay, so then in that case, could you take the hot jet and I'll take the cold jet so that I can show people the cold start?
Of course.
Cheers, thank you. I'm just gonna change my role here. So who here does not know the cold start whatsoever? Did the tutorial once, okay.
Yeah,
That's enough.
A couple times.
Perfect. Okay. So we in this training session, okay, are going to use the ground power. I think it's very useful, and it will also essentially let us to essentially get the jet started up into a position where we're using as little fuel as possible on the ground. Okay, so simply we want to get the jet set up in a way where all we've then got to do is turn on the engines and then we're ready to go. So the way how we're going to do that first is by accessing the main power battery. So we're going to go to the left behind the stick or behind the throttle here, and we're going to push the main power switch forward twice. Okay, that is going to let us now use the battery power, which is then going to let us use the ground radio that is connected to our jet. Also, before I begin that, has everyone got their binds set up, or do I need to go through that?
I'm fairly squared away, I just forget things.
Okay. So, right, so has anyone here not got their binds set up and need me to go through that real quick? Okay, everyone's got their binds. Sick. That is wicked. So, in that case, we are going to use the bind for the communications menu. So we're going to bring that up real quick. Okay, if anyone doesn't know what that is, then let me know. And then we're going to go through the ground crew, which is the F8. And then the ground electric power.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
And then we're going to turn that on. If anyone is having any issues with that, then let me know.
Ground power is now on.
And then you should see that in just a second, everything kind of springs on, okay? And now we're getting the power to the aircraft, so it's essentially mimicking what the engine power would do to the aircraft. So, is everyone at this stage?
Roger.
Perfect. So, we're now going to, kind of walk through the basics. So we are going to turn on the HUD. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to go to the right down here, and these row of 5 switches, and then the row of 2 that are right below that, we're going to turn them all on. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to bring the power to the systems. So as you can see, we're now bringing power to the HMD, we're bringing power to the HUDs, and we're bringing power to the MFDs, as well as an assortment of other systems. We're also going to look down to the bottom left and also to the bottom right of the same panel that we were just using, and you can see 2 knobs. Okay, the bottom right is the mids. Okay, so essentially in game, that's going to be dealing with things like your TACAN, so we're going to want to turn that on. And then on the bottom left, you've got the INS. Okay. So this is a system that will essentially, be able to, it will align your aircraft, with the compass to give yourself a direct heading and also to give yourself a it will give yourself a position for the aircraft. So for now, we're going to turn that one stage to the right to stored heading. And I will tell you, just a bit about the difference between stored heading and also the norm. So essentially, there are two ways to do an INS for the aircraft. There is one way which is stored heading, and then there's one way which is the norm. Okay, and we call that a GC, or a gyroscopic compass. Okay, so essentially, the stored heading will take the last heading of the aircraft, and it will use that within its alignment process. It's really quick, and it should only take about 2 minutes. Okay. And then you use the norm one, and that will do a full aligning process. That will take much longer. Okay, so that's going to take about 8 minutes. So you'll see on the DED, because we've turned that on, I'm going to get rid of the HMD, that we've now got the INS page showing up. Okay, so on the top row, you should see some type of symbology that's saying INS, and then it's got a number. It should be, quite a low number, maybe 0.1, 1.2 or something like that, slash, and then it should be, a considerably bigger number, so maybe like 20 or 30. Now, this will count down until the second number reaches 10, and then you're going to see some, some things that are flashing. So in the HUD, in the bottom left, you had the align wording in the bottom left of the HUD. Okay, that's going to begin to flash, telling you that the process of the INS alignment is now finished. That's done. So now we can go back to that panel. We can go back to the INS knob, and we can move it to nav. And now the plane has completely, finished, done with its alignment. Okay. So we're now going to do a sweep from left to right, okay, essentially getting the aircraft fitted and ready. So I'm going to go all the way to the left to the IFF master knob, and we're going to turn that to norm, and that's the 3 o'clock position. And then we are going to move to the panel that's closest to us there for the lighting panel, which is going to be this one down here. I'm going to set up the lighting as we would on the ground, okay? And then this is something that we're going to change once we reach the taxiway to get ready to take off. So we're going to move the sensor dial here to the AG, okay? These are our nav lights, okay? So it'll be red on the left, and then it'll be green on the right, okay? These won't be doing the strobe. Then we'll be turning off the aerial refueling lights. And then also we'll be dimming the wing and tail and the fuselage lights also. And then we'll also make the position lights steady. Okay, has everyone got that?
Good copy.
You said you had your master set to normal?
Yes. So the master for the IFF is set to norm. The master for the lights is set to AG, which is essentially the nav lights. AG should be the 12 o'clock position.
Mine says AC.
AC, yeah, you're correct. I read that wrong. Oh, I just heard an F-18 rip past us. Very nice. Then we're going to turn on the communications. Okay, this is going to be the standby setup. So we're going to put that onto manual, and then we're going to leave that. And then we're going to put our countermeasures to standby. So that's just going to be essentially putting up our countermeasures to a position where, if we need them, then we can just essentially, flip them to on. Then we're going to be turning the flares and the chaff on as well. And it's also going to give us the readout for how many we got. 60 chaff, 60 flare. And then we're going to be turning on these two switches here. Okay, our RWR and then our JMR. Okay, and that is going to allow essentially the countermeasure system to begin to interface with the RWR. Okay, so let's say that we got a lock from an from an SA6. Okay, there will be a program inbuilt into the F-16 that will know what is best for the F-16 to put out in terms of chaff and also in terms of flare, so that when we press the program button, it will just do that completely automatically by itself. So that is why we do that, and that's why it is so important to do that. We're also going to turn the program on to 2, and then we're going to turn the symbology int up to full brightness, and that's going to be for our HMD, which we will get aligned momentarily. Then to the left of this page, we are going to do the threat warning panel, and the bottom right button turns it on, and then you should kind of hear some sound which will let us know that it's turned on. Then we're going to go up to the airframe panel. Going to turn the landing lights.
What was that last thing you just did? I missed it.
Absolutely no worries. So if we look to the left of the countermeasures panel and look to the RWR panel, you should see 4 buttons that are in a square fashion. You're going to look at the bottom right button. It should say power. You're going to press that, and that should give power to the RWR system. And then you should kind of hear something like essentially the system beating up.
Dragon.
You got that?
Oh yeah.
Good. Okay, we're going to go to the airframe panel now. Going to turn on the taxi lights. And then we're going to set our stores config to Cat 1. Now, this leads to quite a level of confusion, okay? So this is a AOA limiter, okay? So this will limit how much the aircraft can pull, okay? Essentially, stalls 1 or Cat 1, okay, is when the aircraft is in a configuration where it's quite light, so it doesn't have many bags on it, okay, it doesn't have bombs on it, okay, it's pretty much just a bare bones basic F-16 aircraft. Okay, if you move it into Cat 3, that's when you're, a bit heavier, okay, that's when you're in an air-to-ground loadout, or you're, quite heavy, you're potentially laden with, quite a lot of bombs. That's when you would put it into Cat 3. Now, they have made a change to the aircraft, meaning that it will actually give you a warning if you are in the wrong state. So I am quite a light aircraft right now. I've got nothing on my wings. So if I put myself into Cat 3, and you should see on the warning panel, on the left side near the middle, it says stores config, and that's telling me that I'm in the wrong, I'm in the wrong kind of configuration for my stores. And so I just flick it back up to Cat 1. It is really helpful because it literally tells you which one to use. Okay, next up, what we're going to do is, now that we've sorted out all of that, we're going to turn the parking brake to on so that we don't go anywhere. And then we're going to go up to the master arm panel, and we're going to turn the radar kind of arming down to silent. This means that we won't be putting out any radar waves. It's just kind of something about realism. Then we're going to be turning the altimeter down here. So it's just below the ICP to the electric tab. So you want to do a left click on the tab, and then it should move to the point where it's showing you your altitude above sea level, or above QNH of 2992. And then we can also, while we're at it, we can also test the fuel level. So we can use the fuel knob and move it to the test. And then you should see it on the fuel gauge that we've moved to 6,000 pounds of fuel. That's that's how we know that the fuel gauge is correct and that it's working. Final few things then. We're gonna scroll up on the standby ADI. Make sure that we get it so that it is uncaged, and that we remove the flag, and then it's showing level. And then we want to press the top right screen, or the OSB button 6, on the right MFD, so that it's now saying transmit or TNDL. that is our link 16. So that is our data link.
What was that MFD button? 6 is in.
That is the top button on the right-hand side, OSB 6.
Could you do that one more time?
So on the right-hand side of the MFD, on
Yep.
the right-hand side of that top button, it should say XMT and then off. That should be its label. I'm going to press that once, and then it should say XMT TNDL.
XMT TNDL. Got it.
Got it? Perfect.
Yep.
Right, now we're going to go down to the right-hand side. Last few things. Radar altimeter. Going to turn that on. Okay, and then that should show up on our HUD. Then we're going to turn the FCR on. Okay, now that we've turned the radar off, so that we won't get any type of emission. Okay, we can now turn the FCR or the fire control radar on. Okay, we don't have any hard points, I believe. Let me double check. No, we don't, so we don't need to turn them on. But if we did, then this would be the time and the place that we would turn them on. We had
point. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So you'll see on the essentially on the cheeks of the aircraft. So on the left and on the right, right next to the intake, that you've got like 4 screws. So it's, so it's kind of like a panel there and a panel there. So that's where the targeting pod and the HTS pod will go. So there you've got the harm targeting system, and then you've got the lightning pod. Okay. And so those are the hard points, and so we have to, basically just give them power. So those are what we're turning on there, and so those are the systems that we're using. Can hear something taken off. See that momentarily. Yeah, I can see F-15s, I think. Right, we've turned on the O-box. So pretty much the last thing to do to get all the systems set up and aligned. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn on the HMD. Okay, so we can see that. So that anywhere we look, we've got the HMD. Okay, that's just telling us the airspeed. We got the altitude, which is coming from our radar. No, it's not. It's coming from our barometric altimeter. And then we've got the heading tape, which is quite nice. So now we're going to begin to use the DED. Okay, so we're going to press the list button on the top of the ICP, and that's going to bring us almost to our home page. Okay, and then from here we can go to each system one by one. So once we're at here and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then next to that a bunch of words, we're going to press the 0 key for miscellaneous. And then on the top right, hand side of the DED screen, you should see a button labelled R, and then it should say HMX, or the Helmet Mounted Queuing System. So on our ICP, we're going to press the RCL button or the recall button, and then you should see the HMX. You should see the HMX display show up on the DED. Has everyone got to this point? There we go. That is a very good point. So, do you see on the ICP? You've got 4 kind of dials: top left, top right, bottom right, and they're in a vertical fashion. Well, the top left one, so if you move that up, that's going to turn up the symbology and the brightness of the HUD. There you go.
So I made it to the miscellaneous page, and then what was after that? It was the DEP.
Then you want to press the RCL button. It should be right next to the 3 button.
Yep, tracking.
And then it should bring us to the HMX display. So now here's where we're going to do the alignment process. So using the dobber switch, which is on the bottom row of the ICP, it's like a rod that sticks out. On the left, it should have the RTM or return. On the right, it should have SCQ or sequence. Okay, we're going to press sequence, and then that should double us right. And then that's going to bring us to the HMX align page. And then once we have got there, then it should be that course on that page is started. And so that's what we want. And so we're going to select that by pressing 0. And now you should see that whenever you look at your HUD, you've got a cross that shows up in there. It looks like a carrier has just spawned on the airfield. Okay. Forget that happened.
Cool.
Yeah, so it should be that there's a cross wherever you look that will show up on the HUD, and then there'll be a cross that is on the HUD that is stationary. So you want to line up the crosses, both of them, so that they, well, so that essentially the cross that is on your HMX lies just above the cross that is on the HUD, so that you can only see one cross. And then you want to press the enable depress switch. And you want to hold that, and it should be flashing that it is aligning, and then it should say align.
What's the enable depress switch?
Let me bring it up on the adjust controls. Bear with. So you were looking for the enable switch depress. So standard, it is enter on your keyboard. And it is in the category of throttle grip and HOTAS.
Oh, okay. It's where the radar cursor is.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Is anyone having trouble with that?
After it says align OK, what do we hit?
Then you're going to press 0. And then you're going to press 0 again. And then you're going to do the same thing, except this time you should see 2 smaller crosses. Okay, so your job now is to move the top cross onto the cross, same thing that you were doing before, and have that like lined up. And then once you've done that, then you're going to press 0, and then 0 again. And then you're going to rotate these 2 crosses using the, it should be the RDR cursor switch. So essentially how you're going to move around your radar. And you should be able to line up the crosses so that they're parallel with the vertical line of the cross. Essentially, once you've done this once, then you're going to know how to do it properly, and then it just becomes second nature, but it is quite weird.
So it's the top cross with the HUD cross?
Yep, affirm. And then after that, it will be the bottom cross. You essentially want to bring the vertical line of the bottom cross so that it sits on the vertical line of the main cross. And then that's going to align your roller. And then you want to confirm that with 0, and then you want to press the RTN switch of the double switch to bring you out of that page, and then you have aligned your HMD. Is anyone having any issues with that at all?
A little bit. My control for that is super sensitive. I might have to...
Yep, it will be really damn sensitive. That's one thing that you're going to find out very damn quickly about this jet, is everything's super sensitive, so, you know, putting curves, putting something like that, because it is definitely helpful. Okay, so once we have set up the alignment for our HMD, then we can get the jet started up. So I'm going to look down to our left where the jet fuel panel was, and you'll see that we've got start 1 or start 2. Okay. Always use start to. Okay, and I'll go into that in a little bit of a later date, but start to is the start that we want to use for the aircraft pretty much every single time. So we're going to do a right click. We're going to do a left click, sorry. And then that's going to bring us to starter 2. And then you should see that the RPM gauge, it should begin to bump, and it will then idle at 22% RPM. Also, if you want to get rid of the HMD for a little bit, then just hold down the TMS long, and then it gets rid of it.
So I didn't quite get through the HMSC line. How can I just bypass that and skip it and move on to something?
So you can just leave it, you know, because we won't really be using it today. So you can leave it for now, and then we'll go over that, you know, like once again at a different time. That's completely fine.
What was
also
the for just turning the HMS off?
that will be TMS down or TMS aft, but that's going to be a hold press. So you're going to want to hold that down.
I think it's DMS, isn't it?
Let me have a look.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. DMS, yeah. Thank you very much.
No worries.
So now the engine is idling at 22% RPM. Fine. And now we want to bring it into ground idle position. So we are going to press right shift and then home on your keyboard, and then that should move it to the idle throttle position, where it will then move up to the idle position, and we are using the JFS to actually spool up the engine. And it should idle at about 65% RPM. And now that we got most of the engine set up, we've only got to do very, you know, kind of like, well, got to do barely anything to get the jet ready to go, and then we can get taxiing. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go back to the RWR buttons, the 4 buttons that are in a square fashion, and we're going to press the top left one.
Quickly gonna annoy you guys. When you're, let me know before you take off when you're all lined up. Once you just tell me in DC, and then after you land, let me know and just park as a group. All right? That way I can get some cool pictures.
Yes.
Yeah, roger that. We'll do.
Thank you.
F-15,
And then the very next thing that we're going to do. And then the very next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go next to the RWR screen that's just above the left MFD. And you're going to see that it's basically a few buttons that are like shaped like steps. So we're going to take the second step and then that one to the right, and we're going to press that once, and then it should change it to the priority mode. So it should be backlit green and it should say priority above the mode. And then once we've done that, then we're literally ready to go. We are ready to get the jet up into the air.
So it's unknown, system test, TGP, and priority.
Where are you reading that?
It's the steps. So I have the 3 bottom ones, bottom loom, and then mode priority.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you should have the 3 bottom ones. And then you're looking so essentially at the right side, the second one down, it should say mode on it. You want to press that once and then it should change it to priority.
Radio check.
What's the difference between the mode and the priority and open?
Radio check.
Bear with me. Leave it, Charlie, ready check. So essentially you've got the priority mode, which will show the most dangerous target. essentially like the largest, and it will also show that pretty much over like any other target. So let's say that you've got, you know, quite a big like cluster of targets. So you've maybe got like a SAM, like kind of like defense that has been set up with maybe some SA-10s, and then you've got some like SA-6s in there, something along them lines. You will see the like most like high priority target within that cluster, like the largest, and it will also have a diamond, you know, that will essentially like be around it. So that's the priority mode.
Okay.
Just as a tip, guys, you may not be seeing any green dots on your right MFD. There's a bug with DCS where you basically might not get a data link. In which case you need to go to a list on your ICP, and then you need to select E, which is data link, and then you need to press on 1, which will switch off your GPS, and then press 1 again to switch it back on, and then it should be working.
Nice.
Very much. Wicked.
Sorry to interrupt. Unfortunately, I'll need to drop, so I won't be taking off just so that my plane doesn't crash.
No problem.
Apologies for that.
That's fine, that's fine. And again, okay, so again, if anyone has got anything that essentially they think can help, again, by all means, just essentially shout it out, because it definitely does help. So now we're ready to taxi. Okay, so we're going to press the nozzle steering button, and you should see on the indexer to the right of the HUD that you should have it now lit up in green. It should say AR, and then below that it should say NWS, or nozzle steering, and that's telling us that the nozzle steering is on. Okay, then we can just throttle up, and then the parking brake should come off by itself automatically. Again, we do have a master caution switch, which is fine. Have they put on wheel chocks?
Do we need to turn off ground power?
Yes. If you do need to turn off ground power. Well, technically you don't. They'll just moan at you.
Chief, turn off the ground power.
Yeah, it's always a good thing to do.
Copy.
Make sure your canopy is closed.
If canopy is
Copy.
closed.
Wheel chocks are now removed.
And then we're going to taxi
And when do you arm your ejection seat?
we're going to do that when we are holding short. So that is something that we do. Okay, going to turn parking brake on real quick. Going to get a bearing of where we're at. Okay, so we're going to taxi to runway 09. So if I've got some F-16s to the right of me, and then I've got an F-16 that's in the hangar. So if you guys essentially want to taxi out and then follow me, so I'm going to get onto the main strip. So I would use the F2 for this while we get a bearing of this runway, or get a bearing of this airfield. Okay, I'm not too sure if you can bring the hook back up by itself. I think that you are going to have to get a new jet, so we will wait for you, don't worry. You can get, well, essentially you can use this time as practice, so you can get a new jet and then quickly do the cold start. If you've got any questions with the cold start, then just let me know.
I'm not going to be able to join you this flight because I'm having some serious connection problems, but I should be able to join this flight.
Okay, no problem at all. Just let me know if you can obviously get that fixed, and if you can't, then let me know, and I'll give you some help with that. I'm going to move to, I'm just going to move a bit forward so that you guys have got some space to taxi behind me, and then we'll park up, and we'll just hold the other guy to get his jet started up.
Were we supposed to mess with our radios at all?
Well, we can, and for now, we are just going to use Discord, and then obviously in the next session, that's when we're going to be messing around with the radios and also with the navigation. So we'll do that pretty much all at once, you know, and get ourselves kind of situated with that.
After this, will you go back to like the the SRS app or the application. So then I don't know if anyone else needs to, but if I could like copy your settings down so I know that all that's set up correctly.
Yeah, definitely. I can certainly do that.
Cool.
Right, just let me know once you've got your jet started back up again. Whoever was having the issue, you two are wicked. Perfect, yeah, I see that. Just make sure to turn on the taxi light and all that good stuff. We are going to get ourselves down to the parking bay, and then we're going to stagger ourselves up because they want to take a picture and we want to look cool. So I'm going to put myself to the left side, and then if someone, essentially the next person that's behind me, if you can put yourself, slightly to the right, and then the next person will have them like slightly to the left, so we'll kind of be, stacked up. And now there's going to be quite a lot of us, so I don't particularly know how we're going to do a flight of 8. That is quite crazy, but I'll do my best. Also, a little tidbit, so if you want to bring up the ground speed of the aircraft, then press on the ICP, press the list button, and then press the 6 button. This is going to be your INS page as well, so that is also quite useful to use. And then in the bottom right, it should say G/S or ground speed, and then it should say a number. Mine's currently 17. We want to keep that below 20 while we're going straight, and then 15 in the turns because this jet can topple quite easily. I would highly recommend, to use the flight manual for this aircraft. While I might be able to teach you some stuff within these sessions. If you've ever got potentially some type of issue that you're trying to figure out, always just have a look within the flight manual, because you will 9 times out of 10 pick up more things than the thing that you were like going in there to look for. It is a super useful tool, so I would highly recommend to use it whenever you're having any issues. 1's brakes on. I'm gonna stop here, and then 2 you can go to my right, and then 3 you can line up behind me. We'll just have a bit of a stack going up there. That's a great position there, yeah. And then 3, actually, if you want to go on my left, so kind of like mirror the same position as 2. And then 4, if you want to go behind me, and then you can have 5 and 6 do the same thing to you as well. And then I'll let Mark what we're doing.
Speak of me. What about me?
Well, I'm just saying that we are getting ready for the picture.
Alright, I need... Where are you? What one are you?
I'm me.
Okay. Change to an instructor livery, so any of the 65th aggressors. They stay as what they are, they just need to change their board numbers, make sure the board numbers match. And you go to a 65th aggressors. Alright?
With 65th aggressors.
64th, sorry, I did that earlier. 64th.
You want me to tuck behind, or?
You can be anywhere.
Yeah, there we go, that's perfect. And then off that next guy, then can you go to the left of him, so match what 2 is doing.
That's what
yeah, and then the guy behind that that's currently to the right, if you can move over to the left. All the way over to the left.
Oh, that looks so good.
Okay, right. So I see that we've got a bit of a traffic jam. So, right. So essentially, we've got 3 people that are taxiing. Can you all stop? Okay, we've got 1 person that is in the lead. Okay, you're going to go to your left, and then you're going to line up behind the guy that is already on the left. Okay, so you can use like the F2 menu or whatever, you know, just to look. Okay, so I want you to be behind the guy that's on the left, and then the guy that's on the far right. Okay, that is currently taxiing. You're going to do the same, but on the right-hand side, and then the guy that's in the back, that's on the dotted like dash lines, you're going to go behind me and then the other guy. So essentially, we've got a diamond right now. We've got 1 guy that's in the lead, that's me, and then we've got 1 guy that is behind me. You're going to go behind him. Alright. Let's see if that works. You guys can get taxing on that. Hang on a second. I might not have downloaded the livery, or I tried to. Bear with.
It's a stock. It's a stock livery. You shouldn't have issues.
That one?
It should be a stock livery.
Yeah, I think I got it. And then can you guys also change the board numbers? So if you want to go back to the communications menu that we used for the ground power. So go back to ground crew, but instead of using the ground electric power, if you guys want to use the rearm and refuel, and then you should see the board number on the bottom right hand side if you want to change that to the number that is in the brackets of your Discord.
Request rearming. Copy.
And then I can also call you guys by that as well. That would be quite useful.
Yep.
So we got 678 got sorted. 620. Well, yep, you're sorted. Perfect. Right, 666. Can you move up and go to the left side? And 607, once he's moved up, you can do the same, but on the right-hand side.
Rearming complete.
Harris, I'll let you do your thing. I'll just be taking pictures.
Roger that. And then, yeah, it's pretty nice. Uh, 666, you can move up a bit more.
Okay.
Just a tad bit. There we go, boys. Mean looking scroggin. Right, so takeoff price cycle for this one. Okay. We're going to do a rolling takeoff. Okay, so I'm going to roll on. I'm going to roll onto the runway. And then I'm going to do my takeoff. Okay, as soon as I begin moving, then 2, you are going to then begin to make your way onto the runway, and then you can also roll on for takeoff as well. Okay.
Awesome. Are we doing mill power takeoff or after we're going to take off?
We're going to go into full burner for this one. Okay, we're going to maintain a climb angle of 5 degrees. Okay, contract speed will be at around 350. Okay, I want you guys to do your best to just meet up in my general angle. Okay, I'll be climbing at 5 degrees, and then I'll level out at 10,000 feet, and I'll keep the runway heading. Okay, so you guys will know where to find me. Okay, and then you guys can just meet up on me, and then just fly like in my general, you know, like kind of like vicinity. Okay, and then we're gonna try and get ourselves in an organized fashion. I might get us to do like a right type of echelon, but that'd be kind of crazy, so we'll see what happens. So just to recap, full burner takeoff. Okay, climbing at 5 degrees to flight level 100 or 10,000 feet, and then we're going to level out, and I will see you guys at 350 knots. Has anyone got any problems with that? Roger that. Alright, let's do it.
Sure.
So I'm gonna... Yeah, they are all done by themselves. Only thing that we've got to do is turn on the ejector handle and then faff around with our lighting a bit. So where we turned on our lighting, okay, we're going to turn the master mode to norm. Okay, this is going to turn on our strobes. And then the wingtail and the fuselage lights, We're going to put them to full brightness. And then the taxi light, we're now going to move to the landing position. That's standard for takeoff. And then we're going to just do a wipeout with our flight controls, just to make sure that they're functioning, make sure that they're moving about. It's mainly just to make us look cool, I'm going to be honest. Right, 1 is rolling on to runway. Once you see me moving to, of course, for my takeoff, then you can get moving and get on the runway.
Awesome.
I see you boys up near.
6, 7, 8, you're number 2.
Yep. 2 moving.
Moving.
Okay, bringing throttle back, holding 5 degree climbing.
What's your speed?
Yep.
Lead speed is 350 knots. Perfectly done, boys. Perfectly done. Okay, 1 is currently speed 356 in the box, currently at 4,000 feet. Maintaining climbing by 5 degrees. Look at that, we've got a beautiful trail of jets on our data link. Nice. So once you are getting close, if you want to begin to form on my right hand side, okay, we're going to do the interval kind of formation. So the first person to form up will form on the right hand side, and then the next person is going to form on the left, and then the left on the right side. Full cycle weight. So we're just going to try and hold that, and we're going to fly level, and we might limit checking some turns there, and then we're going to bring some back over into base for a standard landing.
To this throttle, I'm kind of lagging behind.
This is the time to get used to flight. Also, I'll be on pretty much like any time, you know, obviously throughout the week. So essentially flying won't have to be limited to the sessions. Okay, if you guys just want to, you know, generally fly and maybe get a bit of practice in there too, I'll be down to fly whenever. We're currently at just passing through 9,000 feet now, getting ready to level out at 10,000 feet. Push your nose forward. Okay, altitude hold is on. Pull back slightly, maintaining speed. I'll let you guys do your thing and just get used to the controls of the aircraft, and, you know, simply get used to how it handles, because we're going to be aiming to fly in formation quite a bit. You know, that is how I want to kind of essentially, you know, basically just like teach you guys, is to be flying in formation pretty much all the time, because it will bring your skill level up massively. So if we can get comfortable flying close to, you know, another aircraft, then, you know, we'll be golden.
Number one, what's your speed?
Speed is currently 384. Let it climb a bit there. I'm going to bring throttle back just a bit. Two there is caught up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's on the last side, yeah. Okay, so it looks like two's going to be forming on the right side, essentially. Then we've got someone up to the right as well. It's fine. We've got 620, you'll be forming on left side.
This throttle is so sensitive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Was what nearly ended the F-16 program, is that it was too damn sensitive.
I read somewhere that originally the F-16 stick was strictly load sensing, and then a bunch of the test pilots started complaining about it.
Yep.
So they added in like a quarter-inch of movement or something like that.
That is correct. So essentially all of the movement that come out of the F-16 was based on the pressure that was, you know, like kind of like applied to the stick. And then they changed it a bit so that it had a 1 inch of movement from each way. It was, yeah, it was a very, very different type of stick. There was a test pilot, it was Phil, like Austria or something. Essentially, he was there to do a high-speed like taxi run, and it actually turned into full-fledged flight. And you know, due to the nature of its like sensitivity, he nearly actually crashed the aircraft. But he was a very damn good pilot. What's that?
It's because he wasn't like used to the load sensing or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he very nearly crashed the aircraft, but he did manage to kind of tame it, and yeah. Then they got, you know, a bunch of like information about it, so it actually helped them, you know, kind of within the long run. But it was it's very incredible.
So you can trim out while you're in altitude hold.
So yes, you can trim, but I would like advise against it. That's one thing in this aircraft that isn't, you know, like kind of modeled too well, is the trim. Is trash. So I wouldn't trim in this aircraft, you know, unless it's like roll trim. So, you know, technically when you're, you know, potentially taking a payload that is like asymmetrical, then yeah, you would probably try to trim for that. But I wouldn't trim in like the pitch fashion, definitely not. I see you guys are, what's up? It did indeed.
Oh, wow.
It did indeed. 1974.
Historic moment.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
50 years, man. 50 years. It's incredible.
And the fact that it's still relevant is crazy.
That is. It is absolutely incredible. I can see that we've got a bit of a formation kind of forming up here. We've got two on our left. We've got one guy that's a bit off. There's also one to our right. We're getting there, we're getting there. Essentially, you guys are just here to kind of get comfortable, so move, you know, closer and closer to the main aircraft. If you want, I can show you some like formation on like you guys, if you want, you know, just to kind of show you the distances that I'm talking about. But you know, only if you guys would, you know, kind of find that helpful.
Sure, I'm down for that.
That's good. So I'm literally going to go to like each and every one of you and just basically form up on your wing, show you it, and then move to the next person. So If you guys just want to kind of basically like maintain this level flight, I'll be moving amongst you guys.
Cool.
Use off there to my right, so I don't crash.
Show off.
On the form on the right echelon.
Say again?
So I'm gonna form up on the right echelon on the current lead.
Cool.
I'll be able to read your turn number in just a minute. Seven, 8, forming up on. Yeah. It definitely moves by that way turbulence. Right, I'm gonna move off you. So that's what I want you guys to be able to do by the end of the session. You know, is really, you know, kind of bring that formation super tight. So now I want 6, 7, 8. I want you to try that on the guy that is currently behind you. So the guy that is currently moving up on the lead aircraft, okay, I want you to move up just past him. And then 6, 7, 8, if you can do the same thing that I did, just form up on his right wing and just get as close to him as possible. There you go, you should see him pass you now.
I'm not sure who anybody is. I can barely maintain speed.
Who's that? 675, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing a bit of formation going on with the lead aircraft there. And then I see one guy that's behind them. Okay, if you want to... Hang on a second, let me get your total number. So you are 678, 678. Right, if you want to try and form on the right wing of the guy, I can see that you're already giving it a shot, kind of. If you want to try and move onto his right wing.
I was doing okay, and then wake turbulence. So.
Yeah. So essentially, I would try and steer clear of his like aft side, because that is just going to send you, you know, going crazy. I am going to have a look at the trailing aircraft. So we got trailing 3. So I see 2 people kind of at the back of the pack here. So if you guys can move up just a bit, just behind the 3 that are currently flying, you know, in formation. You should see just behind that there's one other. Let me get us down number.
You probably.
So, like, how much time do you need to give the throttle? Yes. How soon before I need to slow down do I actually need to move the throttle back?
You know, that is something that will take time and practice. I mean, I don't think that there's really a designated time. You just got to, you know, kind of like get that feel for it. And literally all that is just flying the aircraft like a lot. So you'll kind of like get that feel, after a decent amount of time of flying the aircraft. I see that there's definitely some people that have already taken up formation quite well. Perfect. Now everyone should be in front of me or close enough.
Oh fuck, oh fuck. I almost slammed right into you.
No worries.
Exactly what's one here.
Oh fuck is not something you want to hear in a formation flight.
Well, most certainly.
My depth perception is not what it used to be.
Yeah, well, I mean that as well as I've been fired on. I need to dip, and then you just see like four. Then you see like four like aircraft. There's now. Where was the other aircraft that was next to me? Oh, there you go.
Definitely a good way to figure out what to rebind or bind.
Yeah.
When you're flying in formation, where is there like a point on the jet you're trying to form up on that you're aiming at, if that makes sense?
Yes, there is. So what I'm going to do is in session 2, I'm going to go over it properly. Okay, so we're going to go over the positions of the echelons. We're going to go over the trail positions. But for now, I just want you to kind of get comfortable. So basically just be forming up on his right wing sort of thing. So maybe, kind of line up the tip of his wing. So maybe the front tip of his wing with the pilot's like helmet. So like that's, something that, like some people kind of like usually say. And that's quite normally helpful in terms of positioning. I'll put you right where you want to be.
Close.
Do you want all of us on the right hand side?
For now, you can choose like which side you want to be. Just make sure that you're not behind like an aircraft. Otherwise, you'll be picking up off the swing turbulence.
I'm just gonna stick to the left because it's a bit busy on the right.
Roger that, no problem. Right, looking very, very strong in that formation there. Definitely going to march much better. And then we've got a Trojan aircraft. If you want to try and move up as well, try and get quite close to the others.
Oh, I'm trying.
Okay, the lead aircraft. I want you to turn so that we end up on the reciprocal heading. So I want you to bring us round on a heading of 280. Okay, but I want you to do that in a manner in which it's slow and concise. So turn left with an angular bank of 30 degrees. So the way how you want to measure that is by the bottom of your HUD. You'll see, what looks like a radial. So you've got like a little triangle that's pointing up, at a vertical line, and then they're kind of curved around. So you'll see 3 lines that are like equally spaced. Okay, and those lines are kind of like indicating like 10 degrees of turn. And then the line that is, quite far out, that is 45 degrees of turn. So I want you to give it a shot, turning left by 30 degrees. And then I want everyone else to try and keep that formation, or just keep the distance that they are to lead.
I am making left bank 30 degrees.
Left bank, angular bank 30 degrees to turn onto a heading of 280. So I'll let you know when to stop.
Oh.
Whoa!
Whoa!
What was that?
There we go.
Casualty.
Mayday,
Using
mayday.
my calculation.
Well, following that, is there specific callouts you use for like when you're slowing down or pulling air brakes or something like that?
Yes, there is, and of course that's something that we're going to cover in session 2. I just wanted to see how you guys could kind of handle it.
Okay.
Essentially, we were doing better than I thought we would, which is good. I mean, we only lost like 2 aircraft so far, which is well, it's decent. It's decent. So. I am still streaming, I think. So, obviously, if you guys that are, among the fallen, do want to watch through me, then you can.
I survived that. I don't know how, but I did.
Yeah, I do not know how.
No master cautions, so I think I'm okay.
I'm sure you'll be fine. I mean, you might have a fuel leak, so we'll find that out eventually.
Nice and steady.
So in that, how many did we actually lose? Was it just 1?
Yeah, it was just 1.
Roger that. Roger that.
Are
I
we
mean, we're
still
going
in
to be
that?
coming back for an RTB. That anyway. So
I'm
if
heading
you.
280. Did you say?
Are we still in that bank?
Yeah, we're actually going to maintain the bank, bring us around to like a heading of 240.
Copy that.
Tiger Flight 2 of 2 taking off via 09, Snarky traffic.
Leveling out now.
Alright, level out, back out to 10,000 feet, and then just try the formation again.
Steady flying, number one.
Thank you.
Just to let you know, the trailing aircraft, you've got your air brakes still up.
Yep. Thank you.
And number one, what's your speed?
I'm at 350 right now.
Yeah.
3513.
As a tip, when it comes to speed and maintaining formation, you could listen to the engine pitch.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely something that you can do. It's definitely good flying, boys. Good stuff. I mean, you know, all of you guys look really steady. You know, and also all of you guys look confident in your controls. It's good. Right, one, we're going to bring us right, okay, 10 degrees angular bank, super shallow turn, okay, super light.
Banking right, 10 degrees.
Okay, cool. And then I'll let you know when we're going to stop.
And every one of those tick marks is 10 degrees?
Okay, 10 degrees. So right now, yeah, we've got 0 degrees, 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees. And then the next one is 45 degrees.
Okay.
Okay, the instructor aircraft just moving, you know, kind of up through the flight. Check how you guys are doing. Okay, we're going to want to aim just to the right of these mountains. Traffic flight 6 F-16 inbound on Rejoin.
Could you repeat that traffic?
Are y'all constantly messing with your throttle, or can you just like find that sweet spot and just hold it there?
Traffic, runway 09, we're about 40 miles out still, so just only cool. You know...
Copy, I have an emergency, Tiger, number 2, he's in emergency, he has no, landing gear, he broke them. So he's gonna make a quick emergency landing if you guys could do a holding pattern.
Roger that, we'll hold out here, we've still got about 40 miles to go, so yeah, we're gonna take off.
Perfect, you should be good then, he's on, final right now.
Roger that, wish him luck. Yeah. Yeah, so normally, yeah, like, you know, you should be kind of like messing around with your throttle and with your stick pretty much constantly within the formation flying. You know, you are going to be, you know, constantly trying to like update, essentially like, well, like your airframe. So you want to be, you know, making changes to it pretty much constantly just to make sure that you're keeping that formation and keeping that level of control. Alright, we are gonna level out.
It ended in a fireball. Did not end up in good luck.
Where's it at?
Leveling up.
Taps we're gonna do.
Alright, we're gonna level out about here now.
Yeah, wings level.
If you could have a guy do a missing man formation for us, that'd be cool.
Well, we'll give it a shot.
Cool.
Do you by any chance have TACAN? Do you by any chance have the TACAN information for Takeoff?
Did you request TACAN information?
They've requested TACAN information for Takeoff.
31 X-ray.
31 X-ray. Copy. One, you're going to turn us on a westerly heading 270 for Seneca Kolki, turning with an angle of bank 20 degrees.
Copy that. Banking left now. Leveling up.
Roger.
Like in his jet wash right now?
No, I am just staying out of it.
That's real close. Love to make a screenshot of that.
Is anyone off to my right?
No. No one's off to your right.
We're going to do an overhead join. Actually set it up pretty good. Okay, we're on a heading at 269, so we're going to do a cheeky join in the overhead for runway 27, which we're probably not meant to do, but we're going to do it anyways because we're F-16s. So I'm going to make the call that we're joining in the overhead for runway 27. Okay, and I'm going to do an overhead brake. Okay, it's relatively simple. Okay, so we're going to fly overhead the runway at 15,000 feet, 1,500 feet above ground level, and then simply we're going to just brake off to the left. So one by one, we're going to brake off to the left until we essentially turn back round on a heading of 09. Okay, this is going to be super simplified. I'll go over this more in session 2. Okay, but we're then gonna pretty much do a 180 degree turn, holding about 2.5 G, so pulling quite heavily. Okay, bringing us back round to a heading of 09. Okay, and then now we're gonna be on our downwind turn. Okay, and at this point we're gonna be bringing our gears down, bringing our air brakes out. And trying to bring us down to a speed of around 200 knots, but still flying level. And then once we've done this, we're going to turn ourselves left, okay, by about an angle of bank of about 30 degrees, and then bring our nose down to about 5 degrees, like dive angle, and then we're going to just bring ourselves round until we make or until we are in a position for an approach for runway 27. Okay, if if you guys are a bit confused by that, don't worry, because I will actually, you know, kind of draw a diagram within session 2 and actually cover it fully, properly. But essentially, we're making a racetrack course. So we're going to be flying over the runway, and we're going to be turning left, coming back on ourselves, and then once we've gone past the edge, or sorry, past the end of the runway, we're then going to be coming back round on ourselves to land. Okay. It's really the best way that I can, you know, kind of describe it. So we're going to be flying over the runway. We got sonar cars set up just in front of us here. But obviously we need to kind of, you know, descend to 15,000 feet. So once we get about, I'd say about 20 miles out, we're currently 60 miles out, we're going to begin our shallow descent down to 15,000 feet, or 1,400 feet, sorry. So, really, the way how we're going to do this, so I can see that 3 of you guys that are in the lead position have got quite a good formation on the echelon left. I see one person that's just behind them, and then one person that is quite far behind them. So the person that is just behind the lead 3, if you can do your best to form up on the left wing of the 3rd one, that'd be wicked. And then I'll bring in the guy who's trailing behind just a bit here. So what's going to happen is that you 4 that are currently in the lead, you know, like kind of like positions. Okay. The very left guy is going to break off first, and then 3, you're going to wait 7 seconds, and then you're going to break off to the left, and then 2, you're going to break off to the left after you've waited 7 seconds after 3, and then lead flight, you are going to do the same, you know, once you've waited 7 seconds. So in total, there should be a 28-second gap from 4 to 1 braking. Do you guys understand that? Do you guys kind of, you know, get the gist of that?
That's after we go over the runway, right?
Affirm. So that is after you've, you know, flown over the midpoint of the runway. That's when you want to brake, and then you guys will re-brake into the left. So 4 will go first, then 3, then 2, then 1.
Is there a certain speed we want to aim for during our break?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, glad that you mentioned that. So you guys are looking at about 350 knots over the runway, but you guys have been keeping that pretty much the whole flight. That's why I did it, to kind of, you know, get you guys in the frame of mind of flying at 350 knots. So that is going to be your brake speed. So that's going to be your max speed in the pattern, will be 350 knots. So that's going to be the speed that we're going to be flying over. Stand by. So they've got Cold Key, 40 miles to the east, on a Rejoin the runway 27, warship, flight F-16.
Hi.
Good night, love you. So yeah.
When about to start in the descent?
You're going to start descent in about 20 miles, we'll let you know. So I'm going to have the 4 ship that's leading. You guys are actually, do you know what, why don't you guys begin descending now? So descend at a 5-degree dive angle, okay? And then just kind of like maintain your heading.
Yep, descending now.
And then the trailing aircraft, I'll form up on you. And then we can also descend together, and we can go over the air. Then we can go over the airbase in a 2-ship formation.
Number 1, can I get a speed check?
Yep, I'm accelerating. I'm at 400 right now. I'm slowing down a bit.
Cool.
Do you want me to fly over the runway, like, parallel to it?
So, essentially, you are going to fly, like, directly over that runway. So, yes, we're going to be flying parallel on a heading at 270. So we should get visual with the runway once we're about 10 miles out. Then you can, kind of like line yourselves up, and then everyone else can form up on you on the left.
Speed is 344.
Good job maintaining speed there.
I've lost visual of the 3 lead.
Yeah, I mean, once we descend down to 1500, then we can get ourselves regrouped. Just about to see the trailing aircraft.
I just want to point out, you guys are at Katese.
Yep, we should be flying past Katese. We got another 20 miles to go until we reach Seneca.
Alright, I just was curious because I saw how low you guys were, like, as
Leveling
saying.
Yeah.
Oh, Wild Cherry, you're about to go head on with an SU-27. Oh, he went right over you. Alright. That was a little too close, but...
Altitude.
Anyways.
Is the runway before or after this hill in front of us?
It's going to be after.
I'm gonna climb a little bit to get over it.
Did anyone else get a bingo fuel?
Yeah, we probably should be getting around bingo by now. We are flying quite low, so we'll be using quite a bit of fuel.
Leveling out now at 1600.
Roger that. I'm seeing you guys forming back up pretty well. That's nice to see.
Altitude.
Hi, traffic. F-16, Debreif runway 27, that'll be a T-shirt for F-16, Debreif.
Pretty much lost everybody.
Get your last over.
There'll be a Washington F-16s doing an overbreak runway 27. Once that's concluded, there'll be a T-shirt with F-16s doing an overbreak runway 27.
I'm assuming it's a handful of planes on my
Roger that. I'll loosen it in with the 2-ship once everybody's on the ground.
What's that, sorry?
So I'm assuming it's the handful of planes I see on the radar link. On the right.
Yeah, it should be. So there's a
For some reason can't get a visual.
Yeah, I mean, they will barely be showing up. So I see a 3-ship with F-16s just about to go over the brow of the hill. And then there should be...
I'm too far behind, that's it.
Are you guys past the airfield?
Negative.
We actually, so we can see the airfield off to our left. So we're going to have to make a left turn, circling back. So we're actually going to land on runway 09. So do you guys see the airfield on the left?
Yep.
Quality?
I'm the one flying right over it.
Roger that. Okay, so then if you want to do an break over it, and then we'll get you that. And then I can see a 3-ship that's below me. So, right, okay, so the lead of the 3-ship. If you can turn left to bring yourself so that you're flying overhead the airfield, but also parallel with the runway.
Yep, turning left now.
Roger that. This is going to be quite a tight turn.
I'm all jacked up over here. My trim is fighting me.
Flat, I got eyes on you. I'm going to go in for just a low supersonic
Number one,
pass
can I get your speed again?
taxiway, but I've got visual on everybody.
337 and climbing slowly.
Runway 09, yeah, 1,400 feet. Will be there. Yeah, keep bringing ourselves round.
Turning a bit more now.
Yeah. Nice tight turn. Beautiful. And then maintain that, and then we can do the over break off of that.
So break off from the back, right?
Yep, so we're going to have the trailing aircraft break off first, and then we'll break off from that. Just make sure to leave stuff in second break.
Lead, check your speed.
Number 3, braving.
Roger. Visual. 2, you can break. So you're good to break. There you go. And then 1, you're good to break.
Break it.
Make sure to bring the throttles back. And then get the landing gear out once you're at a speed of 250 knots.
Landing gear coming out.
Alright, I caught up with you. Last man braking.
Warning, 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 warning.
So we're going back around the runway.
Didn't exactly end up in line with the runway, but we're going to make it work.
That's fine. Again, normally this will be covered in session 2.
Okay.
Why not bring it up now?
Yeah, so we're landing on runway 09.
Runway 09. Yep.
Number 3, wheels down.
Good stuff, good stuff.
The Viper does not like to slow down.
Oh, it definitely does not.
Fast jet. Whoop.
Radio check.
Thanks, Charlie, management. Bringing that turn round. Yep, good stuff. And also make sure that you're going to be descending. Bring that turn round tighter.
Number 3, exiting runway.
Good job.
Number 2, base lag.
4 going for long base.
2, final.
think I messed some up with it. I'm going around.
That's fine. You can always go around.
So, Churro.
Yo.
Where did your right leading edge flat and your rudder go? And how did you lose those?
I did lose those.
Yeah, how?
Mid-air collision.
With who?
Some dude that ended up in a fireball somewhere.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just judge landings. Baron, you needed to add more AOA to that. You didn't hold it long enough. There we go. Whoever Bryce is. Okay, yeah. Okay, I know who you are now.
Last man on final.
Bryce did it better. Both of you still need to hold your nose. Uh-oh, that's gonna be a runway collision. Oh, you went underneath of him. You went underneath of him. He turned right in front of you. You know, you're Dodger. No, hold on.
Dodger. There we go. I like that. Yeah,
nice. Goals.
Alright, where do I taxi?
Oh.
Right, so you can just taxi straight off the runway for now, and then I'll get you guys sorted out. You know, once I'm down as well.
Around.
Yeah, don't taxi into the A10s. Take the exit before the A10s.
Are we just the hooligans not making any radio calls about fucking our intent?
After we've landed, do you want us to head back in the direction of the hangars?
Yes, please.
Awesome.
Colby traffic, this is Sting 1-1, inbound. It's like 048 for 15. Runway 27, overhead brake, full stop.
I'm bingo fuel. I'm still in the air.
Bingo fuel was meant to get you back to base and landed, so should be good.
High traffic heading base for runway 09.
Hey, and also I heard you say that you were landing on runway 27. Did you guys make a change up for 09?
Yeah, we did. We made a change up for runway 09.
Roger. I still got about 10 miles to go, plus I'm doing an overhead brake, which will bleed some time. You think everybody will be clear of the active by the time I get there?
We got some 8 and some F-16s on shore looking to pick off from runway 27, but other than that, I think that we should be good, yeah.
What's the runway looking like right now?
Roger, I just see Freakwood, Pontiac 1-1 still in the air.
Yep, coming into my final base now.
Sorry. I got stuck in the grass.
I'm taxi.
Oh, the same.
Tell you what, I'll just extend my upwind until I'm passing.
Okay.
On final.
My knowledge, 216 to make it runway 09.
Runway appears clear.
Yeah, almost perfect. And that should be everyone down, I think. good final. You're a bit low, but actually, should be alright.
For the A-turns waiting, we've got one F-16 on final approach, and after that you guys should be cleared to make way on runway 27.
Yeah, I'm watching 10 maps, so all good. 106 is in the break.
Bring it down.
Oh yeah, butter that.
Alright,
Hell yeah.
down.
Now you better step on them brakes. You're hurtling down the runway.
I'm drifting. Drifting. Oh god. I missed the A10. Oh,
You good,
that's
you
you.
good.
Oh, I'm drifting. Holy shit. Oh. There's no way I don't tip over. There's no way. Alright.
You good. You might want to check on the nasal steering and get off the runway as quick as possible there.
Alright, I'm behind you.
Right, that's what they work.
Did that look as cool as that? I feel like.
You know, you managed to take a drift and F-16, so I think it's impossible not to look cool. Alright then, we're going to get parked up, and then I'm just going to give a general debrief and look at what we're going to be doing in session 2.
I broke something, that's for sure.
Well, that is a problem for our crew chief.
Is the active clear yet?
Active is clear definitely for whole trip.
Roger, almost turning the station. Smart control key, this is 126, turn left base.
So once you guys are like near the hangar, we can then just come out the server, and then I'll give you guys a debrief. We don't have to shut it down for this one.
Does it matter what hangar?
No, not really. I'm just gonna come straight out anyways. So what I'm going to do for session 2 next week is I'm going to begin with me just doing a circuit. So I'll put up a stream for you guys, and then I'll simply just basically play out a circuit and how I'm going to do it. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to jot down the numbers for you guys now, so that you guys can take that. Maybe you can, maybe make a screenshot of it, and then you guys can potentially go away and practice that for when we come back in session 2, and then you guys could already have it nailed. I would highly recommend that you at least put in a bit of practice into this, because then it would make my life easier, but also your life much, much easier, because then we can just get on with the nav stuff and already have the flying part kind of nailed down. So a circuit consists of flying over the airfield like this. So this is the Air Force way of doing it. Okay, we're going to be flying, over the airfield at 350 knots. This is our break speed. Now, we might be in a foreship like we were today. So I'm going to represent the planes as little triangles. And so that is how we would be if we were going to break left. Now, in this situation, this is a left-hand circuit, so we'll be making left-hand turns, and on our downwind, okay, which is going to be this leg here, the runway is on our left-hand side. If it's a right-hand circuit, then we'll be making right-hand turns, and again, the runway will be on our right-hand side. Now, we're going to do something called the brake. So I'm going to split it up into sections, and this section is the brake. Okay, the brake serves one simple purpose: is to slow our aircraft down from 350 knots to the speed in which we can bring out our landing gear. Now, in the F-16, the landing gear is limited to 300 knots. Okay, if you pull it out, you know, essentially, if you're going faster than 300 knots, you will break the gear. So we want to keep it below 300 knots, and then preferably below 250 knots. So we are trying to slow our aircraft down to below 250 knots. So we'll be pulling 2.5 G throughout this entire turn. Okay, so let's say that our heading here is 270, like it was today. Then we'd be pulling all the way around 2090. Okay, pulling on the reciprocal heading, and we'll be pulling 2.5 Gs to slow us down. Okay, now the engines are going to come to idle. And about halfway through the turn, we're going to be pulling out our air brakes. So at this point, our air brakes come out and they stay out until we land, pretty much. So at this point, we're at 250 knots. Okay, our gears are out and our our air brake is out. So we're at 250 knots, gears are out, and then our air brakes are out. And we're flying on the reciprocal heading of the runway. By the way, this is 1,500 feet. I'm going to keep our 1,500 feet on the downwind. This is downwind. Okay. Now, the downwind aim is to get us situated for the landing portion of things. So now we've slowed down from our brake. We want to slow down a bit further so that we're ready to make our base turn and then our final turn for the landing. So we now want to be just above 200 knots, okay? So a bit faster than we are going to be during our landing, but we still want to be slowing down that we can carry that speed into the turns without having to put in too much power. So that's going to be our aim. It's also going to be our aim to keep flying level and to keep the heading that we designated, like to keep on flying for the reciprocal. So we want to keep that designated heading to ourselves and we want to keep flying that. So at this point here, we're at 200 knots. We're flying on a heading of 090. Our gears are down. We've got our air brakes out. We are ready to get this plane on the ground. We're now going to do our base turn. Okay, that is from the end downwind to this point here. Okay, and our base turn is going to be bringing our aircraft. You know how we had the turn light indicators there. So we want to be keeping our aircraft in this space here, the 30 to 45 degree turn, turn angular bank. And we'll also want to be pitching our nose down 5 degrees. Okay, that's going to be the main thing here. We also want to bring our throttle back so that we're keeping, to a good level of speed. Okay, so now we're looking at about 180 knots. So as you can see, we're, at all times trying to slow ourselves down until the point of landing. So it's pretty much, think of it as one big spiral. Okay, so now we're down here, we're 180 knots. We got an angular bank of 30 degrees to 45 degrees. And we are pitching down by 5 degrees. Okay, so we're bringing ourselves down and round. And then for our final turn, we just want to keep this up. That's all we want to do. We want to keep the 180 knots, roughly. And we want to keep the angular bank of 30 to 45 degrees. Now, at this point here, you should be looking at the runway. Okay, you should be making that visual kind of check to see, am I turning enough to make sure that I'm going to be in line with that runway by the time that I can level out. If I'm not, then turn more. If I'm doing too much, then maybe kind of like ease out of that turn, give yourself a bit more shallowness within the turn, but that's also going to give you more lift. So you also then need to back up off your throttle. Okay, it's a constant feedback loop, and it just simply comes with practice. You need to literally get into a habit of doing maybe 3 or 4 circuits each day, for example, and then after a week, you'll have them nailed. I can guarantee you. Now, at this point here, we want to transition from matching our speed to looking for something called angle of attack. Okay, now this is simplified to AOA, and it's simply the angle that our wing takes to essentially the direction of travel that our aircraft is going. So you'll often see that the aircraft may kind of look like this. So that's the aircraft. Don't mind my terrible drawing of the aircraft. And then this is the wing, the shaded in part. And then we'll be coming down like that. Okay. The angle of attack is the angle that the wing makes with the direction of travel. Now,
sorry to interrupt. I have to head out, but this was awesome. I appreciate everything, and I'll try and be back.
No problem.
Next time. Sorry, dude.
No problem at all. No problem.
Have a good one.
So, you too, man. Take care. So we want to maintain, an angle of attack of 11 degrees, and then when we touch down, we want that angle of attack to transition to 13 degrees. That's it. Other than that, that is your landing completely done. Okay. What I'm going to do is at the start of session 2, I'm going to quickly essentially cover again this all, and then I'm actually going to do it because I think that will kind of I think that will be able to transfer basically what I'm trying to say a bit better there, and then we can actually kind of put it into practice. So we'll literally just sit within the pattern and we'll just go landing after landing after landing, essentially just changing things that we could have done a bit better the landing before. It is quite a lot to take in, so I would potentially go and watch some videos. There are plenty of videos about how to land the F-16. There are like tons, so I would definitely go and watch some of them. And then if you guys have got the time, put it into practice. So actually get up there and fly, because it is definitely it is worthwhile to actually put it into practice, because let's say that you guys can get really good at it before we actually go into session 2. That'll be very, very valuable, and then we can work on some of the stuff that might take us maybe a little bit more time. Has anyone got any questions about that? Anything that they want to kind of ask or pose?
During the first break, what should our throttle be at, kind of?
Yeah, so the throttle during the break needs to be at about 80%. So that's super close to it being idle. So flight idle is about 72%. So we want to be at around 80%, and that's just going to keep our speed, like given to us from the engine quite low. So we'll be able to slow down from that.
All right. I guess it's more of like a feel thing as well, because it's hard to keep track of everything, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. So you'll find out that a lot of things are fuel based. So when we kind of go into the realms of taking fuel, a lot of it will be fuel based. When we practice the formation types within session 2, a lot of it will be fuel based. Same as this. It's just practice. It's just getting a feel for how the aircraft will behave within the low airspeed range, because things will get mushy. So things like the ailerons and the stubbulators, they will not react to how they would react when you're flying at 350 knots compared to 170 knots. They will behave quite differently, and so essentially you guys have just got to get a feel for that. And again, that just comes with pure practice. That's all.
I think actually the thing I struggle with a lot during the landing is keeping track of my AOA, because I feel like I need to look down at that one dial that has like the red, green, and yellow section that tells you what your AOA is. But I keep like needing to look down at it constantly when I'm about to land, and then it kind of screws me up.
Yeah, definitely.
Or is there a better way to look at that? Or do you see that on your HUD as well?
There is actually a much better way. So pretend that this is your HUD. So this terribly drawn HUD image, and then you got two things to the left and to the right. Okay, you got one thing that looks a bit like this, like that, and then you should have one of these blocks lit up at a time. So the bottom one I think is green, middle one is blue, top one is red, and then you've got the AR NWS. Okay, this is actually an AOA indexer. So this is telling you your angle of attack or landing. So this is programmed to tell you essentially at what like angle of attack you should be at landing. Now this one here is luckily at 11 to 13 degrees. So if you have the like middle light showing up, which is a blue light, it kind of looks like this. Like that. It's quite weird, but essentially that's what it looks like. Then your like aircraft is flying at the 11 to 13 degree angle of attack that you need for landing. Okay, if it's lit up like above that, so this like section here, then you're flying at a higher level of angle of attack. And if it's lit up below, then you're flying at a lower angle of attack. And so that's what you should mainly be, kind of keeping your focus on, is looking at that instead of down below.
Gotcha. And it's kind of it's affected by your airspeed, right? Like what your angle of attack is, kind of?
Yes, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
And then also, you could have things like weights that might be able to affect your angle of attack. That's something that does kind of play a role. Yes, but mainly it will be the airspeed that will affect the angle of attack. So.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
All right, thanks.
But yeah.
I was gonna say, I think you can also see it in the HUD itself, right? There's a ladder combined with your glide slope indicator.
Yep. Yeah, there is. So you have. So let's just imagine. So that is your flight path marker that is on your HUD, and then you've got the like altitude on the left, or the speed, sorry, and then you've got the altitude on the right, and then that's your HUD frame. Comes down like that. So this is what we call the E bracket. And so you want to keep the flight path marker in the top section here. Again, that's your like 11 degrees to 13 degrees angle of attack. So that'll be your 13 degrees, then that'll be your 11 degrees. And that is also how to measure it as well. But I find a combination of both looking at the E bracket and also looking at the indexer, because that's going to be a bit more like accurate, is definitely a helpful way of bringing the aircraft down. But again, it's just based on feel, so you will end up being able to feel like if the aircraft is at the correct, is at the correct angle of attack. Like you'll simply just be able to feel it. But again, that just takes practice.
All right, thanks for that.
No problem. Has anyone else got any more questions? Okay, sounds good.
Not necessarily pertaining to this specifically, but the SRS settings. If I could take a look at yours.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You did mention that. So you were looking for what settings? You were looking for the binds, or?
No, I have the binds, but like settings next to favorites.
Oh yeah.
If I could look at those, see if mine's all squared away, if that's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. When you want me to scroll down, just let me know.
Okay, I'm good right there. That's good.
I think most of these will be default settings.
That's good. That's all good. Perfect. Sweet, thank you.
Perfect,
Yep.
no worries. So that should be session 2. Again, I am down to fly most days next week, So if you guys see me on, then I will happily fly. Essentially cover pretty much anything, and it will be a way to essentially get ahead. And I think that'll be quite important, because I don't think it will be like enough to simply just fly it within the sessions, because you won't be able to like learn like nearly like potentially as much as someone who will go ahead and fly it in their own time. So again, I'm not asking you guys to go and fly every waking hour of of every day, but it would be helpful just to go out there and watch videos, maybe look at the flight manual, because these are very kind of valuable tools that will definitely help you to learn more about the aircraft. And will bring your skills much further. Again, if you guys have got any more questions about what we learned today, then feel free to hit me up. I'll be there to answer any questions. I believe we've got another set of F-16 instructors coming in, so they should also be able to help you as well. But yeah, again, I'm always here. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it went well today, and it was what you guys were expecting. But yeah.
That was good.
That was quite good.
Yeah. Which is but that's better. Well, it's better than I thought we would do. Let me put it like that. It's good. It's good.
Will you be the instructor next week as well, Quincy?
I am not too sure. I mean, I was not like expecting to be the instructor this week, so I don't honestly know what's going to happen. I should be the instructor for the F-15E guys for the NA like rotor. So I don't know. I mean, I've been put here, as a last kind of like effort resort. But yeah. All right. Anyways, I am probably going to head out now. So take care, guys. Thank you very much for showing up today. Thank you very much for flying.
Awesome. Thank you
very much for teaching us.
No worries.
Bye-bye.
See you guys in a bit. Take care.